Now the first thing you're probably thinking is, Chris, where are you? For starters, it's a very loud mind you've got, maybe turn that down and give yourself a headache. And secondly, I'm currently in theatre. I'm in Lincoln, in Cinderella, this year's pantomime at the New Theatre Royal. If you want to buy some tickets, we start December 5th, link is in the description. But a few of you have been asking me since I tweeted about it last week what I thought of Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. Where's your film review? Why have you not done a review on the channel? Well, because I'm in theatre, been a bit busy, so here are just my initial thoughts on Fantastic Beasts. I'm not going to edit this, it's just going to be a stream of consciousness review, so if you want to know what I thought of the movie, do stick around. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is a 2016 motion picture based loosely on the fictional textbook from the Harry Potter series that was also made into its own book for charity back in the early 2000s. The book was written by Newt Scamander, and the film follows Newt Scamander during the research for his book, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, getting involved in a few scrapes in New York City in the 1920s during... cable's gone all awry there. During the furor of kind of witch hunt culture within modern America, as well as in the wizarding world, there is great fear being spread by the wizarding terrorists Grindelwald, I think that's his name, I keep getting it wrong, sort of the proto-Voldemort, who's referred to in the Harry Potter books, the one who Dumbledore helped fell, and that's why everyone fears, all bad wizards feared Albus Dumbledore, because eventually he took down Grindelwald. So the wizarding world's dealing with that. The Muggle world, our world, is dealing with people sort of trying to spread fear of there being witches out there. There are witches in the world. Into the middle of all this nonsense is Newt Scamander popping to America in the middle of research for his book. He accidentally swaps his case, which contains his findings and several specimens, with a nomad, the American word for Muggle, played by Dan Fogel, who's absolutely brilliant, and is the best part of the movie, hands down. And chaos ensues. Beasties get out. They've got to track the beasties down, while something dark and horrible is going on within the Witchfinder family, involving Colin Farrell's Aura, who works for the sort of American version of the Ministry of Magic, who seems to be trying to locate a specific dark entity or creature that is loose in New York. Does it have something to do with Newt Scamander? Will they be able to collect all the beasties in time? And how does this all tie into the political state of the wizarding world at that point in its history? If you're a fan of Harry Potter, naturally you're going to watch this movie because you want to see more of that world. Brace yourselves. This movie makes a very bold choice in that it does not feel like a Harry Potter movie. And that is both a weakness in that selling this film to people who weren't so keen is still going to be difficult, because they'll be like, well, it's not the same, so why would I go, I'm not enjoying this, where there's no Hogwarts and all that. Like, they're not going to be won over. But at the same time, it needs to be its own Fantastic Beast. Which it is. It's a pretty entertaining movie. And I went to see it with a big Harry Potter fan sat to my side, who adored it. I didn't love it. See, my partner she really enjoyed it. I didn't. I wasn't won over by the magic of Fantastic Beasts, and I'll tell you why. It's J.K. Rowling's first screenplay, and it sort of feels like a first screenplay. I do worry that there wasn't any reins being held on the runaway cart that was the ideas for this film, being held back by someone who has experience in writing movies. Because the Harry Potter films aren't the books, they're adaptations of the books. This isn't an adaptation of anything, although it has a tenuous connection to a book that exists. It's its own unique story, so it needs a filmmaker to tell that story, not an author. A lot of what's missing from this movie is what you could imagine would be there were there narrative, were there prose, were there characters in a monologues and things like that. It's tonally jarring. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's sinister, but at no point does it ever feel like it's balancing these things. It just is this, now it's this, and now it's this, and now it's this. All the characters, I couldn't for the life of me, and I feel horrible about this, apart from Newt Scamander, and Jacob Kowalski, who's the Nomad. I couldn't for the life of me tell you what any of the characters' names were. That might just be a personal memory thing. My memory's not that bad, really. However, there was never any scene where you sort of got to know everyone in a way that left an impact. You got a sense of things. You know that, and I look it up, but again, I'm not editing this. The main female character, the disgraced Aura, who's working alongside Newt to sort of figure out what to do next. I know that she's an Aura who was fired from that position. That's all I really know. I know she has a sister who's quite sweet and has sort of the wizard equivalent of mutant powers, telepathy, but that's all I really know about them. I know that there are prejudices with Muggles or No-Magers at this point in the wizarding history, that they're not allowed to marry into Muggle families. But at the same time, the wizarding world is also already more progressive than the Muggle world at this point in terms of like representation and thoughts on freedom and thoughts on race and things like that, apart from the Muggle thing. Maybe I was going in expecting a blockbuster, and what I got instead was a bit more of a Christmassy film, if that makes any sense. Like, you tell me the premise is a load of magical creatures are unleashed into New York City, and I'm like, oh my god, yes now! This will be like Godzilla, but prettier. Like, I can't wait to see that. You don't get that in this movie. There are fantastic beasts, and you can find them here. But they're not a threat. There doesn't seem to be any threat in this film other than one that's tacked on in the opening credits and at the very end of the movie. The outside world of what's going on with the wizards, away from this just story of a briefcase full of monsters, is suddenly apparently an important thing. And I came away feeling a bit disheartened because I felt like the whole movie existed solely to go, and in the next film... Now, it didn't feel like a setup movie, but at the end it sort of felt like they were going, oh, that'll be important later, come back next time. I just wanted a story about monsters in New York. Newt Scamander is a person who is so passionate about understanding these magical beasts. If I remember correctly, the introduction to the version of the book you can buy, he's talking about how, like, no, they shouldn't be feared, they should be understood and respected and loved. But that doesn't excuse the movie from not taking advantage of some of the scarier parts of the Harry Potter canon. For example, every beast we meet is one that is in the book. Apart from, I think, there's some of the stuff, one of the thingies from, I can't remember the names off the top of my head, sorry, but the thingies from the lake from Goblet of Fire, they make a very brief cameo. You see some of them in his collection. The little sort of fairy-looking things with the tentacles. But apart from that, minor spoiler alert, no other creatures from the other films specifically, because obviously that's the visual comparison here, or the books appear, aside from creatures that are in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. In fact, one of them isn't even in any of them, which is the Thunderbird, which is gorgeous, but it's very hippogriff, and it makes you think, could it not just been a hippogriff? Okay, fine, whatever. All the beasties... The beauty of Newt Scamander's character is he's there to say, hey, look, it might seem scary, but if you know what you're doing, and you have, you trust your own skill, and you respect the animal, everything will be fine. That doesn't make any perilous scenes with these unleashed creatures feel exciting. It just, all those scenes kind of feel like, oh, this is fun. There's a rather large bird serpent kind of creature at one point, which, I mean, to be fair, they all are sweet because they've been looked after by a very sweet man. And it's just, it's a big set piece that normally would be like, oh, quick, we've got to get it in, we're going to trap it, quick, quick, quick. And instead it's sort of like, oh, it's just confused, don't worry, here you go. And the same with this big sort of hippo rhino-like thing with a bulging head that was really kind of cute and gross. It was just a case of, oh, it's misunderstood, it needs... And things like that, that's fine, but chuck in an acromantula. Throw in a, like a feral centaur, or just a dragon. I know we've seen the dragons, but just give us an animal where we're like, yeah, they might take a little bit more than sort of a Chris Pratt stance. Do you know what I mean? They might take a little bit more than that. But yeah, it's I think it needed some scarier peril. There is a scene in the I can't remember what it's called now, but the sort of the New York version of the Ministry where two characters are sort of being punished for something, and what's going to happen to them is morbid as hell, really horrible when you think about it. And the movie doesn't really treat it like that. It's just sort of like, and this is going to happen to them now, and it's like, no, play up how horrifying this is, but also why are they leaping to this conclusion? It felt discombobulated to me, is my problem. I didn't go in expecting another Harry Potter movie. I just went in expecting a really cool sort of monster movie with that magical flavour. Stuff that really works is the period setting with the familiar magical elements we know from the other films and from reading the books. It's cool to see that within the world. They shorthand a lot of the magic because these aren't kids attending a school of witchcraft and wizardry, so we don't have to learn spells, we don't have to watch them go through stuff. These wizards, a lot of them are experienced enough to be able to do the whole casting it without saying it out loud stuff. But the rules of magic that have been established in this film universe are bent a little bit, so that's a bit weird. The cast are all pretty great. There's not a bad cast member. There's one character who shows up toward the very end who it's annoying because it seems like the entire impact of their arrival is down to you, the audience, knowing who the actor is and not the character. The character's appearance sort of feels like it didn't belong in this story. And that's part of what I was saying about all the shoehorned stuff at the beginning and the end that doesn't really play throughout at all. Eddie Redmayne is great at playing Matt Smith's Doctor Who. That's unfair. It does seem like he's sort of borrowed a lot of elements from Matt Smith's turn as the Doctor, but his physicality has its own unique spin. He does a lot of acting with his shoulders, because I guess Newt Scamander does a lot of leaning in to look at things, maybe, I'm not sure. But he's very charming, he's a really nice sort of quirky, odd lead. The Aura, again, I've forgotten her name for really bad, but like she's, you get her, she's sweet enough. Colin Farrell's very menacing as his character. I want more of him, to be honest, but I don't think that's the angle they're going to go for. Dan Fogel's the best performance for me by miles. As Jacob, he's just lovely. Like, he's really lovely, and that's the one thing that I did really take away from this film, was like enjoying, is that we finally get to see, because the only Muggles really we've seen interact with this stuff significantly are the Dursleys. The two adult Dursleys of which are aware that this stuff exists. This is the first time we've seen a Muggle just be thrust into this world. And he deals with it the way you or I would deal with it, which is, what? Wow. Okay. Like, that's great to watch. So you've got, Dan Fogel playing Jake Kowalski. You've got, you're going to see Newt Scamander, being quirky as heck. You can see Bradley sing, you can see Rachel do a thing, and there's Jo, she's got the flow. And yeah, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I don't care that it's the first instalment in a franchise, because that should never be obvious when you watch a film. It should feel like, unless you're calling it part one, it should feel like its own self-contained story. I don't feel that it manages that. There's so much it could have done that it didn't. But at the same time, it's a lovely film, if that makes any sense. It's inoffensive, it's sweet. If you like the Harry Potter stuff, you get to capture a bit of that magic once again. If you've never seen a Harry Potter film, you'll probably get this. But as far as like creature features, like towns being attacked by monsters stuff goes this year, I don't really think anything has done it better than Goosebumps. Which is a weird sentence to say. Right, so I give Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them a Christmassy 3 stars. I think it's a nice enough film to watch. Because I didn't hate it, it didn't grab me by the snitches. So 3 stars. If you're looking for a nice film to watch over Christmas with the family, give it a go. I'll hopefully be back to review Star Wars Rogue One within the first couple of days of it being out, because even though I'm in pantomime, link in the description for tickets. There is a cinema about a 5 minutes walk from where I'm staying, so I will be going to see Rogue One when it comes out. And also don't forget, Big Damn Cast is still going on every Friday. I'll try and get the video version on this channel whilst I'm here, but if I don't manage to get the video up every Friday, go to iTunes, search Big Damn Cast, and you can download our episodes every Thursday night, roughly around sort of 10 PM, and listen to it. Matt and I will be back this week with another episode as well. So yeah, till next time, I'll see you later. This is the part now where, if you're watching this on a phone or a laptop, there are some boxes next to me with other videos for you to watch. If you're watching this on the television, say on your PlayStation or on a Now TV box or an Amazon stick or something like that, you just think I'm a rambling madman talking about nothing because there's nothing there. Well, maybe you can't see it because you're a muggle, and I'm also a muggle. This end card thing doesn't work.